Grab a cup of coffee, sit back, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life features stories to inspire and motivate you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. Visit cyacyl.com.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. What if I told you that no matter what your financial situation, how old you are, or what's happened to you in your past, you still have the power to achieve your dreams, create deeper relationships, and improve your health and well-being? Today's guest, Neill, is an internationally renowned success coach and the best-selling author of Super Coach, 10 Secrets to Transform Anyone's Life. Michael spent the past 21 years as a coach, advisor, friend, mentor, and creative spark plug to celebrities, CEOs, royalty, and people who want to get more out of their lives. He's also the author of You Can Have What You Want, Feel Happy Now, and the Effortless Success audio program. Hey, Michael, welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Michael, you're here today to get us started on the path to true happiness and hopefully light a fire under someone to take some action. So I'm very happy that you're joining us today.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Michael, you teach us that we can have what we want. And I'm actually a firm believer of that. I'm living it. It's something that I've come to learn over the past couple of years. But so many of us are stuck in this mentality of being a martyr or a victim or they let circumstances take control of their lives. Why do you think that happens?
Well, I think the main reason that it happens is because that's what everyone around us is doing. So it's kind of like that's what it looks like is on the menu. You're kind of going, I could have the average life with somebody who doesn't really care about me, but at least is nice to my kids, or I could have the slightly better than average life where I have a job that I don't completely hate, or, and if that's the menu that you think you're ordering off, of course you're going to wind up settling for a lot less than is really on offer. What is really interesting is to watch what happens when people open up to the idea that they could actually have a life that they love. And I mean, literally last week, I had a 55-year-old lawyer who came to me for coaching, and when I said what had drawn her to approach me, she said, well, I heard you talking on the radio that it was possible to have a life that you loved, and in 55 years, nobody has ever said that to me.
Well, and Michael, I'm glad that you mentioned someone who was 55 years old because I wanted to start the interview touching upon that. So many people, I hear them say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, or I'm too old, the best years are behind me. And I'm really happy that you started with that because it doesn't matter what stage of life we're in. We can make the changes. So your illustration is a very important one for us to start off with.
Absolutely. I mean, I've had so many people come to me in their 50s and even 60s with that kind of, well, it's probably too late, but, let's try. And it isn't. I mean, obviously, it's probably too late to play the ingenue in a Broadway show. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you can find things where you go, I'm too old for this. I gotcha. But the truth is, it really is never too late to tap into that extraordinary, what I call, the genius inside you. And once you tap into that inner spark, life just gets better. And worst case, you have a wonderful life. Best case, you have a wonderful life and drive a Porsche.
The interesting thing is, you're saying 50s and 60s. I hear it from people in their 30s and 40s that literally say, it's all behind me. So you're right. Within what's realistic, it's never too late for us to go after something. And I often speak to women's groups, and these women will sit there, and I talk about change, and they'll sit there, and then they'll say to me, well, I'm an accountant, and I hate it. I hate going to work. I dread what I do every day. I would really love to do so-and-so. And they just can't take that first step to accomplish what it is they want to do. So what would be your advice to get somebody to get out of that comfort zone and eliminate that fear and really just take the first step?
Well, and this is maybe going to run a little counter to the way most people think about it, but I think the most important first step is to get a better understanding of how our experience of life really works. Because as long as we think that it's our circumstances that create our feelings. In other words, that success of some kind will lead to more happiness. We're stuck in the same game that everybody else seems to be stuck with, which is I've got to do more or achieve more in order to really be fulfilled. When somebody starts to see that we were born happy, right? There was no, babies don't need therapy.
Mm-hmm.
We come out of the womb in touch with this innate well-being, this innate sense that everything's okay and that life, the feeling of life running through us actually feels really good. Then creating stuff in the world is a different game, because instead of it being so important that it has to work or else we'll never be happy, which puts an incredible amount of pressure on you and really limits your access to creativity and your willingness to take risks, when you get that you're okay and you can actually be totally happy and content within where you already are, that really opens up the freedom to go exploring. So if I gave you a compass that I could guarantee you that if you just followed the direction it pointed, it would get you where you want to go, and a safety net so that no matter what happened to you, you knew it would catch you when you fell, it wouldn't be so scary to go out into the world. We've got that built into the system. That inner guidance that we've all can tap into is like a compass. When we tune into our wanting and go, well, what would I love to do? Which direction would I, of all the steps I could take to move forward, which first step would I actually love to take? You start following that compass, and when you start to recognize that because we feel our thinking, we don't feel the world, you do have a built-in safety net, because the worst thing that can happen to you is you think a bad thought and feel bad. Well, suddenly it's not that scary, and you actually don't have to leave your comfort zone in terms of feeling good while you move forward, because you can move forward from that place of comfort and ease.
In your new book, The 10 Secrets for Transformation, Super Coach 10 Secrets for Transformation, you share concepts that can help people to do exactly what you're explaining right now. So what are some of these secrets? Can we touch upon a few of them?
Well, yeah, and two of them I just kind of snuck in there. and one is this understanding that we have innate well-being, that happiness doesn't come to us from what we achieve or what we do. It's actually our nature. People sometimes come to me and go, well, what do I need to do to get happy? And to me, that's like somebody coming to me and saying, hey, what do I need to do to get a nose?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've already got one. It's just you might not be very aware of it right now. And if you run around trying to do a ton of stuff to get a nose, ultimately you're gonna be very tired and still have the nose you were born with. So one of the secrets is when people begin to recognize that, when they begin to see they don't have to chase around for their happiness, and they can be genuinely happy and content where they are, rather than shutting them down, which is what everyone fears. Everyone goes, I don't want to be happy and content because then I'll be stuck being an accountant and not doing an Ironman event for the rest of my life. It's the opposite. They start to see anything about their innate mental well-being. They actually have 10 times the energy to move forward that they've ever felt in their lives.
Well, I just wanted to play devil's advocate for a moment, because I can hear the voices of someone sitting home right now saying, yes, we're born to be happy and it's what's natural, but life beats us down. We've lost our money in the stock market, or I've lost my job, or, my child is on drugs. So how do I find what's natural? How do I overcome all of these challenges that beat me down on a daily basis?
Well, and I absolutely, I deal with people on a daily basis through seminars, through online workshops, through clients who've not just lost homes, but lost children, lost husbands, lost wives, lost brothers. Life is a contact sport. There's no way around that one. But once people realize that life can't beat you down, because we don't feel life, we feel our thinking, then when you see that it's your own thinking that has you in such a muddle, it's your own thinking spinning around that has you so exhausted, it's your own fearful thoughts about the future, it's your own sort of sad thoughts about the past that make you feel so fearful or so sad, it becomes a lot less scary. it would almost be like, I don't know if you ever saw, there was a Bill Murray movie years ago called The Man Who Knew Too Little.
Mm-hmm.
And the premise of the movie is that he thinks his brother has bought him this living theater in London for his birthday. So he thinks everything that happens to him is part of a play. And so he has a great time, and he winds up being attacked by spies and saving the world. But in his mind, it's all just a game. And so instead of being scared or terrified or any of the things you would expect somebody to experience when life was happening to them like that, he's having a wonderful time. Well, the same is true for us. Because we experience our thinking, we live in a world of our own thinking. It's not the circumstance that can get you. Obviously, there are circumstances we would prefer in our lives, and when we have choice, we're going to do everything we know to do to create more of the circumstances we want. But because we don't control the universe, and I apologize if there's any implication of that in anything I've said up until this point, because we don't control the universe, it's really comforting to know that the worst thing that can happen to us is a thought, because that's what we'll feel. The people I know, and I've worked with a lot of them who get diagnosed with terminal illness, to a person report to me that it's the best thing that ever happened to them. They find a deeper sense of peace. Those who have a religious bent find a deeper sense of connection with their God. They finally give themselves permission to do things that they've never done for their lives. And you can find that. People who lose loved ones, yes, of course they mourn. Yes, of course they grieve. But the ones that heal, the ones that don't get lost in their thinking about how unfair it is or why it shouldn't have happened to them, they absolutely will talk about how connected they still feel to that person, how that person is with them, how that person is a support for them as they move forward. And it's really heartening to talk to people like that, because you start to see that all these things that you're dreading or fearing, actually, our ability to predict happiness is terrible, because the things we think are going to be the worst things that happen to us often turn out to be real opportunities and chances to heal and go deeper into life. And some of the things that we think are going to be great, those often turn out to not be what we made them out to be.
And I guess the key in any experience is to look for the blessing or the lesson that's being presented to you.
If you can do that, then I think it's wonderful. I know that if somebody's listening to this and they're in pain right now, they just want to kind of smack both of us for saying, look for the blessing.
Yeah.
But the truth is, when you see that what you're feeling, what's hurting right now, is the thoughts about what you've lost or what you can't have. When those thoughts change, your mood will lift, the world will look like a nicer place again. You'll tap back into that creative compass, and life gets a whole lot brighter and a whole lot easier.
Well, and Michael, for that person who wants to smack both of us, we're not saying it's easy, and speaking for myself, I've lived through it all, so it's not easy. It's a lot of hard work, but everything you're saying is absolutely correct. We need to take a break at this point. When we return, Michael's going to talk to us about more of his 10 secrets for transformation. This is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life now has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox. Each month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide the information that you need to inspire and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. As philosopher Francis Bacon said, knowledge is power. Use the wisdom provided in the publication and apply it to your everyday life. Visit cyacyl.com for more information or to begin your free subscription. That's cyacyl.com. Welcome back to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman, and our guest today is success coach and author Michael Neill. Michael is the author of the new book, Super Coach, 10 Secrets to Transform Anyone's Life. Michael, before break, we were talking about one of your secrets that you write about in your book, and that's our innate ability, our natural ability to be happy, that we are born happy, and it's what should come natural to us. What would be another secret that you share in your book?
Well, another secret that I know that really makes a big difference to people, and it's an interesting one because it sounds so counter to the sort of culture of mass achievement that we are a part of, is that you don't actually have to do anything. And that, when people first hear that, I probably the the secret in the book that I get the most mail about, and the most people coming up to me on seminars actually tell me how much it's changed their life, is the chapter called Have an Average Day. And it's based on research that was done into teen suicide. And what they discovered is that one of the things that was common, they did an analysis of suicide notes from teenagers who'd given up. And it was that they had this sense that they were supposed to be exceptional, and that quest to be exceptional, that they could never live up to that inner voice of exceptionality. And when the researcher who was originally doing the research realized this, he drove up. His son had just started at university, and he drove up to where he was going and said, "Son, I want to apologize. I've been putting too much pressure on you. I want you to know that I have a new set of expectations for you. I'd like you to be an average student, to have a straight C grade point average. I'd like you to meet an average girl, and if you choose to get married, I hope you have a very average life together." And the funny thing was, the son kind of hurt him. He did think his dad was a bit nuts, but he phoned a couple months later to say, "Dad, I want to apologize. I got straight A's, but it's okay because I only did an average amount of work to get them."
Sounds like one of my sons.
You start to see that this idea that we have to do this and we have to do that. Well, listen, if you want to, you could sit in the room that you're in right now, and please know I'm not recommending it, but you could sit in the room you are right now and not get up from your chair again. And at some point, probably because of the smell, somebody would come to your room and give you a nice white coat to wear and take you to a nice room and feed you from time to time on some horrible stuff, and you would survive. We live in a culture that actually allows you to do nothing. Now, that doesn't mean that's a good idea. What it means is this drive that you have inside you, if you have that drive inside you, this sense of being driven, not like a good drive, like, "Oh, I'd love to do this, but I have to do this and I have to do that, and if I don't do this, terrible things will happen." It's not actually true. You don't have to do anything. So it turns out that if you do a little bit on a regular basis, it's amazing how much you can achieve in your life.
You're letting yourself off the hook,
well, it's letting yourself off the hook, and coming to see that when you let yourself off the hook, that doesn't mean you don't do anything. It means you're free to do everything
that you want to do, and that's where you find your happiness.
Well, see, here's maybe the biggest secret of all. Okay, is if I don't need to achieve anything in order to be happy, in order to be okay, then I can no longer make my choices about what to do by, well, I think this job will make me happier than that job, or I think this partner will make me happier than that partner. That whole game stops making sense in a world where our happiness comes to us from the inside, where it's a part of our nature. So the only way that we're left to navigate is, what would we love to do? And when you navigate by joy, when you navigate by that inner sense of, boy, I really want to do this, life gets so much easier, and it unfolds in ways, and this is what my whole first book, You Can Have What You Want, was about. It unfolds in ways that you could not imagine. The stories that people tell me about the coincidences and surprises that unfold when they start following their wanting instead of their shoulds or have-tos or can'ts. It's extraordinary what begins to happen. And any story of success, if you read it, it's filled with all these moments, where, well, I did this and I didn't think how it was going to happen, and then suddenly somebody showed up. Suddenly this opportunity showed up. That's not the exception. When you're following your wanting and navigating by joy, that's the norm.
Now, Michael, before we run out of time, I'd like to talk about financial health. There are so many people, as we mentioned before, that are out of work and are really struggling today financially. And although, money doesn't bring you happiness, money is a reality in life. What do people need to do to take control of their financial lives and dare I say it, prosper? I mean, I know so many of us have this concept that money is evil and so forth, but how can they really take charge of it so that they can survive financially?
Well, I think the first thing and really the most important thing is really hearing what you just said. If somebody really gets, look, money's not evil, money's paint, right? If I want to paint a house, paint is really useful. If I want to function in the society that we live in, money is really useful. But if I don't want to paint a house, I don't need paint. And if I don't want to do anything, I don't need money. So it's not oxygen, it's not status, it's not power. It's just something that we've developed over time to facilitate the exchange of goods and services. So if I can take the mystique out of money, and I can see it as firewood, like when we were kids, my dad would, from time to time in the winter, we had a wood-burning stove, and my mom would come down and go, hey, we're running low on wood, and he'd grumble and go out and chop some more wood. But, we'd have wood, and we'd have fire. Now, if she had come down and said, hey, honey, we're running low on money, can you go out and get some more? He might have thought that was a bigger deal. But the truth of it is, it's the same as firewood. It's useful when you want to make a fire. And so one of the useful skills that everyone can develop if you're going to function in our society is the skill of making money. And I talk more about it in the book, but essentially the number one skill to making money is service. If you learn to really serve people, to really make a difference in their lives, you will be recompensed for that. And I don't just mean in heaven. I mean right here on earth. That's what you get paid for. You get paid for the difference that you make in people's lives. You don't make much difference, you probably won't make much money. You make a huge difference, the potential is there to make a huge amount of money. And so whenever somebody comes to me and they want to make more money, those are the two things that we start with. The first is to get out of the idea that money is oxygen and they need it to survive and it's so important and it means so much. No, it's not. It's rectangular pieces of paper with green ink on them that are quite useful. And then secondly, really looking for how can I serve, who can I serve, who would I love to serve, what would I love to do to make a difference in people's lives. And when you find ways of doing that, you get skilled at doing that, you start making a lot more money.
The book is Super Coach, 10 Secrets to Transform Anyone's Life by Michael Neill. If you'd like more information about Michael, you can visit his website, supercoach.com, or as always, you can visit our website, cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on our site, listen to past shows as podcasts, read the digital magazine, sign up for our mailing list, take part in the book club, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Michael, in about 30 seconds or less, what would be the one thing you would like our listeners to walk away with from this interview?
I think if you could see anything about the idea that you're feeling, you're thinking, that you live in a world of thought, your life will change for the better. And I've seen that happen so many times that I can actually promise you, when you see that you're feeling, you're thinking, not the world, things are going to get a whole lot easier.
So be sure to check out Michael's book, Super Coach, 10 Secrets to Transform Anyone's Life. Michael, thank you so much for spending time with us today. I have really enjoyed speaking with you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
This is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.